Imagine being 19 years old, working your first real job, doing everything right, proving yourself day after day, and then getting fired, not for being late, not for stealing, not for messing up, but for wearing earrings. Yeah, that happened to me. But here's the thing. The man who thought he could humiliate me, he had no idea that I wasn't just going to take it. This is the story of how I got my revenge on a CEO who thought appearances mattered more than integrity. If you've ever been underestimated, disrespected, or treated unfairly at work, hit that like button. And if you love hearing about karma delivering justice to the people who deserve it most, subscribe, because today's story is going to make you believe in revenge all over again. I grew up in a small town in the 90s, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and if you were a teenager looking for work, you didn't have many options. Luckily, I landed a job at the local grocery store. It started small, stocking shelves, sweeping floors, scrubbing bathrooms, but I didn't complain. I worked hard, and people noticed. My manager started trusting me with more. From stock boy to cashier, and eventually, night manager. By the time I graduated high school, I was running the store in the evenings, handling sales, bank deposits, locking up at night. For a teenager, that was huge. I felt proud. I felt respected, and honestly, I loved it. The regional manager knew me by name. The owner himself, yes, the guy who built the chain, he'd visited a few times, shook my hand, and thanked me personally for my work. That kind of thing sticks with you, especially when you're young. But what I didn't know was that all of this would come crashing down because of something so petty, so ridiculous. It still makes my blood boil. Like a lot of teenagers in the 90s, I grew out my hair. Long hair was cool. It was my thing. And my regional manager, he never had a problem with it. He just asked me to keep it neat, tie it back or tuck it under a cap. Easy. But then came the higher-ups. The son-in-law of the owner was stepping into a CEO role, and with him came a certain good old boy mentality. Suits, ties, clean-shaven faces. They wanted a look, and apparently, I didn't fit. One of these corporate types saw me with my long hair one day, didn't like it, made a comment to my regional manager. Luckily, my manager defended me. He flat out said, "There's no policy against long hair. This kid's one of our best." Still, he warned me, "Keep an eye out. This guy, he's looking for a reason to come after you." A couple of weeks later, I was working the register when that same higher-up walked in. I had just cut my hair, but now I had earrings, both ears pierced. He came up to the counter, dropped off paperwork, and asked for the manager. I told him calmly, "I'm the manager on duty. You can give it to me." He looked me up and down, sneered, and said words I'll never forget. "You couldn't be in charge. Our company would never put someone who looks like you in charge." I froze. "What?" he went on. "You look like a girl with those earrings. Take them out. There's no place for that here." Now, I could have crumbled. I could have apologized, but I didn't. I looked him in the eye and said, "With all due respect, sir, I've been a model employee for years. There's no rule against my appearance, and every night, this store runs smoothly under my watch." He didn't like that. Not one bit. In fact, he snapped right there in front of customers and accused me of being insubordinate. Then he stormed out, phone in hand, already dialing. Minutes later, the phone at the store rang. It was my regional manager. His tone was heavy. "Look, I'm sorry, he's making this an issue. Just be prepared." I thought maybe it would blow over. But a week later, I was scheduled for a Saturday morning shift, which was odd for me as the night manager. When I showed up, my regional manager was already there. He closed the office door inside. "I'm so sorry. I have to let you go. They're calling it insubordination." My heart dropped. I had never been written up, never been late, never messed up. And now I was losing my job over earrings. I asked him, "On what grounds?" He looked me in the eye, regret in his voice. "Insubordination." But then quietly, he slid me a piece of paper, a phone number, the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. "You didn't hear it from me," he said. I went home crushed. I had to face my parents, tell them I was fired. My dad, old school, hardworking man, told me to just let it go. Don't stir up trouble. But something inside me refused. No, this wasn't just about earrings. This was about respect, about being treated like a human being. So I called the EEOC, explained everything. The woman on the other end listened carefully and then said something that lit a fire in me. You absolutely have a case. That same afternoon, I went into their office. I filed the paperwork, and in that moment, I stopped being the scared teenager who lost his job and became someone fighting back. The investigation began, and suddenly things weren't so easy for the company. The EEOC doesn't mess around. They pulled schedules, pay stubs. They interviewed coworkers and customers who had seen the confrontation. Every detail was on record. And here's the kicker. This wasn't just about me. Turns out this good old boy exec had a history of making questionable remarks. My case opened the door to look deeper, and what they found wasn't pretty. The company was forced into mediation. I was awarded a settlement. But honestly, the money wasn't the best part. The best part was hearing later that the CEO, the same man who had humiliated me in front of customers, was quietly forced out. Not right away, but the crack started with my case. His reputation, tarnished, his career, cut short. All because he thought a teenager with earrings wasn't professional enough. And let me tell you, walking out of that EEOC office, knowing I stood up for myself, knowing he didn't win, that was better than any paycheck. He tried to destroy my future over something petty. Instead, he destroyed his own. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's just standing your ground, refusing to be silenced, and letting karma and the law do the rest. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been treated unfairly at work? What would you have done in my place? Don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss the next story of sweet, sweet revenge.